Hey everyone, welcome back to An Extrovert Paints. And in this video we're going to be taking a look at the African war elephant completely built and glued together and all that jazz. Real quick, to the 8 people that watched the video that I had to just delete, I uploaded it and then a commenter named Blaine correctly pointed out that I was missing some really relevant information in my analysis, and that I needed to review that. So upon review, I realized that he was absolutely right and I was incorrect. I took that video down. I'm re-recording it, so I both loathe and appreciate his comments. Loathe it because I have to re-record this stupid video for like the 15,000th time, and love it because I was misinformed and I don't want to be a purveyor of incorrect information. So thank you, Blaine, for that comment. I appreciate it. You know who you are. And moving right along. So for those who did not watch that video, I had made a claim that the African war elephant was larger than what this miniature is portraying, and this was based upon the modern day bush elephant. The bulls can get up to about 13 feet tall. However, I neglected to remember that the Carthaginians and the Romans would have known of a different species of elephant, a much more docile, smaller war elephant that is no longer extant. It actually went extinct, I think, by the end of the first, early 2nd century BC. I'm sorry, CE, Common Era. So at that point in time, or I should say before that point in time, the Carthaginians and the Numidians, the Romans, and Ptolemies probably used that breed of war elephant. Now, I think there is there's some contention here. I don't think everyone agrees that this subspecies of elephant existed, but for life of me, I can't remember the name, but it's the same height and size as a modern day African forest elephant, which I think gets between 7 and 8 feet tall. So it is extremely short compared to the modern day bush elephants that kind of roam the plains of Africa. So this is supposed to represent that subspecies of a shorter elephant variety. It no longer exists, and that's why it looks the way it does. Bizarrely, and I'm going to remove this and you're going to see all my Athenians in the background. Bizarrely, there's none of that information on the back of this. And I'm sure that it's somewhere. I'm sure that it was somewhere in their thought process as to when they were making this. That was what they were going for. But because it's not on any of the relevant literature, it totally went right over my head. I forgot all about it, and neglected in my first video to talk about that. So, that said, I no longer have any sort of grievance whatsoever with the representation of this elephant in scale. It makes total sense now as to why it is the height that it is, even though it does look kind of like a dwarf elephant. It's totally legit, and it does not need to be adjusted in that regard if it's portraying a subspecies of African elephant, which may or may not have existed during the Punic Wars. So that said, that was my major complaint. Now it's totally irrelevant. So the only complaint that I have left to say is that there's some production issues, or I should say design issues, with the production of this miniature that I have an issue with, and that's it. Everything else about this miniature is golden. I think it's a very lovely kit. It went together real easily. It had a little bit of mold line issues, but really that every plastic kit does. But the only other issue that I had when I say design of the production of the kit is that whoever decided to put this elephant in halves on the sprue, I think they made a mistake, because it leaves this really ugly seam right down the center, and you can probably get away with not doing anything about where my fingers are right now, because the howdah covers this, which is this piece right here. This is the howdah. And the mahout, which is the driver right here, the rider on the back, covers up that part of the neck, so you don't see that. But you do see the right above the rump here, and you see the head here down the trunk. That is a bit problematic for me. I really wish that they had... I mean, there's really not a whole lot you can do about that, I don't think, but it might have been better for them to make the rump part here, like all the way around the back quarter of this, be one separate piece. Have this part can be two pieces here, because you're going to cover that anyway, and then from the neck up to the trunk, that should be one piece, because it's a lot easier to hide a seam here with the mahout and a seam here with the blanket than it is right down the freaking center of the miniature. I think that is not the best decision for designing the sprues and the layout for this miniature, because now I have to go in and hide that seam, and I'm really bad with green stuff, and it's just going to look terrible. So that is the one issue that I have. The other, the same issue yet with the production is the injection molding process, because it left some pretty nasty grooves and a hole in this particular miniature right in the back that I have to fill in. Now, I don't know how that happened. I don't know if it's just this particular production run that has this issue, but both of the sprues have this, where the line of thorax on the back is not totally filled in, and it's probably their placement on the sprue, that just in this area where the mold couldn't quite, the plastic couldn't quite get into to fill that all in, which is kind of sad, because otherwise this would be a near perfect kit. But now I have to go in and fill that in. So your miniatures might not have this problem. Mine, unfortunately, do. And, it is what it is. I'm sure if I wrote to Victrix, they would probably be goodly enough to send me a replacement. But it's not that big of a deal. I'll just fill it in and be done with it. But anyway, that said, obviously my criticisms have been kind of mooted a little bit, so they're not as relevant anymore. This production issue, though, I think if Victrix resolved this, if they went back in and tweaked their molds a little bit and found a better way to lay out the elephant miniature, this would be bar none the best 28mm representation of an African war elephant, based upon that subspecies of elephant that no longer exists, that is out there on the market today. It is a really great kit. I still recommend it to anyone out there who is looking to pick one up. I apologize again to the viewers of the previous video. Again, if you have any questions, pop them down in the comments. If you have any criticisms, pop them down in the comments. I want to hear what you have to say, and I will talk to you guys next time when we paint this bad boy up and see where it goes from there. Thanks a lot. Take care.